Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Little by Little podcast. I'm Priyanka, your host for today. And with us today, we have Vidhi Shah. Um, Vidhi Shah is a certified child nutritionist. And today, we're going to chat about all things food related with Vidhi. Vidhi, would you like to introduce yourself to us?
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for having me here.
Our pleasure.
I've been practicing for 16 years now. And along with being a child nutritionist, I'm a registered clinical dietitian as well. So, whatever we will be chatting about would be related to the clinical background as well. And for the past 10 years, I've been exclusively working with mothers uh, and helping them with their child's food journey is something that I like to do. And yeah, that's about it.
How nice. Um, so we'll just dive right in.
Sure.
Mostly, I just want to bust one myth. Do mothers come to you primarily when there's a problem with their child, or should a mother come to you when they are starting their food introducing journey, so that they don't have a problem in the future? And so let's start right there, like from the beginning.
So, yes, I would say right from the start, that is when you start solids with your child, that's 6 months. I would say the mothers should approach a certified dietitian or a nutritionist for their child's food journey. Now, earlier, something like this was not required because the number of food options were quite limited at that time. Number two, there was not so much information that was available, right, on the media.
Online.
There was no WhatsApp mother groups. The mothers are so confused about what to give, what not to give. Every day there's something new that pops up, right?
That's true.
So this is one problem that I had recognized 10 years back, and I came up with an entire package wherein I start at 6 months till 2 years, till the child comes to a full family diet. So I handhold the mothers. So it's essentially very, very important if you start from the T, that's 6 months, and then it will be a smoother journey for you.
Perfect. So I really truly appreciate this clarity because it's a very Indian thing to, seek help, professional help when there's a problem.
Problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my first question, like you said, is when you said is 6 months. So what are the first foods you would recommend moms of India to, introduce to their children?
Okay. So, see, 6 months, again, I mentioned 6 months, but that's not
Give,
like,
bake.
yeah,
Yeah,
we do anywhere between 5 to 6 months. We see the
correct.
readiness of the child and accordingly we start. So there's not like a fixed age, 6 months. Anywhere between 5 and 6 months, depending on the readiness of the child, is when we start solids. Now, first foods that we can start with children essentially could be fruits and vegetables, because they are what I say, the sensitivities to these foods are comparatively lesser as compared to a cereal porridge or a khichdi or a dal. Those foods can cause colic, that can cause allergies. So what I have observed over these years is fruits and vegetables, number one, they are easily digested. Okay. And number two, there's a lot of varieties that we can introduce. And number three, the sensitivities are very less as compared to the other food groups that we start. So according to me, or what I do is I start alternating between fruits and vegetables. That's what.
Nice. And we recommend, like all pediatricians would always recommend, introducing food at the first half of the day because
Yes,
in case your child is allergic, you can
correct. So
make
we
one
work
rapid,
on the schedule as
yeah,
well. Yes.
correct. Okay. And when can I introduce these solids to be a little more solid? Like you say, when they're really small, we mash them. Do you
Correct.
think it's very important to introduce these food like in texture format also right from the beginning? Or do you recommend just pureeing them, or like traditionally, like my mom and all recommended us to like puree, strain and just give the water for the first 2 3 days. But like as a new age parent, I feel like what's the point of that water? It's just like flavored water. There is no nutrients, there's no fiber. So the whole exercise of it being solid is lost.
Yeah, so you've got it correct. Um, Earlier, parents used to give dal ka pani, chawal ka pani,
Yeah,
right? All of that. And it used to be completely blended foods, is what parents used to give to the children.
correct.
Now the school of thought is a little different. Your dal pani, chawal pani hardly have any nutrition. Okay, so that's not what we're looking at. Also, purees, even I used to recommend till say when I started off as a child nutritionist. But over a period of time, what I have understood is uh, generation has changed. We were much simpler as kids. Kids nowadays, even 6 month olds, if you see, are they understand things really very well. If I look at my son, when I started with him, that was like 14 years back, uh, it was very simple to feed him. I mean, he used to eat whatever was offered. But nowadays, it's very, very difficult. If the child does not want to eat anything, he will not open his
It's
mouth.
like their mouth is stitched.
Sealed. Yes, 6 month olds. Okay. So what I recommend now is to introduce textures. So
Mhm.
as in it would be fork mashed or mashed with a potato masher, not pieces, but there is some kind of textures even at 6 months. If there are some difficulties swallowing or sitting, then it's a different thing. But otherwise, texture is very important.
All right. And when do you start introducing allergens? Like, for example, you just mentioned like some kids have sensitivity to digesting certain things. So, when we're talking about early foods with toddlers, say in the give and take with age somewhere between, say, 5 to 9 months, you're slowly introducing new foods to them for maybe every alternate meal. So, when do you think it's a good time to introduce allergens, like, say, paneer or dahi or bananas,
Okay.
you know?
So, see, what we do is 6 months to 7 months, we keep it very basic because that's when the first time we've introduced solids. So that is very, very basic. I generally do not introduce allergens at that time. Foods like, yes, bananas, I would introduce. That is one of the first foods. Not all
Okay.
kids are allergic to bananas. I've come across very, very few kids who would be allergic to bananas. Generally, like I said, in fruits and vegetables, in fruits, it would be the citrus fruits that we would want to
Avoid.
avoid. Yeah. And in case the child has reflux, because earlier ages, the sphincters, so the esophageal sphincter and stuff, wherein the food pipe basically is
Okay.
not yet fully developed. So
Correct.
that reflux chances are more. So sour foods, we tend to avoid foods that cause colic, like green peas, or tomatoes, that we would want to avoid at 6 months.
Avoid.
But once the baby starts sitting well, that's independently at 7 months, when the digestion is a little better, is when we start introducing these allergens as well. So, like proteins, basically allergens are proteins. Okay, so
Okay.
curd, paneer, milk we do not give till 1 year. But eggs, coming to eggs, there was again where egg whites were introduced post 1 year because that's where the allergen is mostly. Now, what we do is with new research, what has come up is earlier the allergens introduced, it's better. So now we don't wait up to 1 year.
Correct.
We start with the yellow. Once they are okay with the yellow, we also introduce the white as
White.
so that happens at say 7 months.
What is your first telltale when a child is not accepting the food and is maybe intolerant or in worst case scenarios allergic to a certain food?
So allergens, so if the child is allergic to any particular food, there are certain signs that you need to look at. Number one is a rash, not a single rash on the body, but rash throughout the body, puffy eyes, or the lips are swollen. Okay, that is number one. Shortness of breath.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wheezing.
so yeah, anaphylaxis, that is one. Vomiting, loose motions, cold and cough, milder symptoms. Yeah. Constipation, again, that is a milder symptom. But these are certain symptoms that you would see if the child is allergic. That's the reason we ask them to repeat the food for 2 or 3 days to understand whether the child is really allergic to that particular food.
So in my next question is in terms of allergies, if you say to try something for 2 days, do you recommend that, like for example, if we start with eggs and you're saying maybe my like this XYZ child is feeling, funny, but there's no signs, like there's nothing,
Correct.
no rash, and maybe just a little like, lethargic, not responding well.
Mm.
The mom's antenna is already out, like, okay, something
Correct.
is off. So should the mom give it a break for a day if the child is fine, then again introduce it after a day? You think that's a better strategy to approach it, or immediately go back
Second day.
the same? Okay, second day.
Second day. Yes, yes. Go ahead. If you've
Cool.
not seen any major signs, yeah.
Got it. Let's get on to toddler-friendly food.
Okay.
There's this huge, like you said, mom groups, WhatsApp groups. Everyone is obsessed with, can you make meal plans for me? And there's this whole, like, there are two like schools of thought. There's like a baby-led weaning mom, and then there is the traditional mom who's like, khana khilao, khatam karo. And then there are some like me who are like little by little, pun intended, are, a little bit of baby-led weaning plus a little bit of,
Like a combination.
feeding, like a supplementing, because I mean, we're Indian at the end of the day, and there's like extra eyes on the child saying,
Right.
"Arey baby, khana nahi kha raha hai, mummy chhod rahi hai." So,
Right.
things like that. So it's just like you don't know what you're doing right, and especially as a first-time parent, you are sure like you're going to make a mess. So you're so afraid. I think we overcompensate sometimes, and then like I've read everywhere that this force feeding is a recipe for
Correct.
disaster.
That's yes. So, yes, I do get a lot of moms with coming at to me at 5.5 months, 6 months. I just want to do baby-led weaning. I don't want to get into traditional weaning. This is, I would say, last 1.5 year. Okay. Previous to that, it was all traditional weaning. Nobody knew what is baby-led weaning. Okay. So what I do is, I've been doing this for a long time, is a combination of traditional and baby-led weaning. When we say baby-led weaning, there are certain pointers that we need to keep in mind, as when the child should be able to sit independently, right? That's the first and foremost point. Otherwise, gulping is difficult. The child
Correct.
has chances of choking.
Choking.
Okay. And that at 5.5 months and 6 months is not possible. And again, like you said, we have eyes on us, we are hyper parents. So even if the child is not eating, so baby-led weaning is a very, very slow process. It requires a lot of patience. So if you have that, if you're ready to implement that, then yes, you can go the baby-led weaning way. But I'd still recommend to start it at 7 months. You can give the child to explore the food along with your mashes on the side where you are feeding, and the child can simultaneously explore your fruit steaks, vegetable steaks. But otherwise, it's always a combination that I suggest and I tell the parents to do. We move on to one meal at a time for baby-led weaning.
Baby-led weaning.
Snack, then a breakfast, then a lunch. So I take it step by step and not a complete baby-led weaning approach.
I think that's perfect. I mean, it's very I think seamless with the Indian
Yeah,
system
it
of
works with the Indians.
eating, with the kind of food we consume and the kind of
Mothers
food
are
we
also
we
less
make
anxious
also.
then.
Yeah, yeah. And I also feel like we also have the nanny culture in India.
Correct.
So I feel like it also, what do you say, makes them feel a little validated that, otherwise
And I'm
everyone is a
sure
little
the
threatened.
nannies would not wait for half an hour or be able clearing the mess always.
Mess, yeah, the mess. And there's a lot of food wastage, which I mean, again, like is a big for any parent is
There's
you
no
work so hard to earn that
there's no
food,
right
and
and wrong here.
yeah, to each their
That
own, I feel, in this
yes, you need to
situation.
understand that if your child is readily accepting the baby-led weaning approach, happy child, eating on his own, wants to be that independent, go ahead with it.
Yeah, then I feel like you should also kind of motivate
Correct.
that and
Correct.
influence it a little bit here and there.
Correct.
But so coming to baby-led weaning, another question that I had is, Uh, do you recommend, for example, like we as Indians eat roti and rice? That's our main source of carbs.
Hmm.
So, how do you introduce rice for baby-led weaning? Because it's very hard for them to pick grains.
Yeah,
As a parent, I am South Indian, so we make rice laddus or rice sticks.
that's how
Sometimes sometimes I eventually end up
we
making
make
cookies.
tennis size ball
Yeah,
dose, and that's
yeah,
what we give. So we can put boiled vegetables also inside. That would be stage number two.
two,
At
yeah.
stage one, we do sticky rice thoda, and we make balls out of it and let the child pick and eat on that.
So when we speak about sticky rice, so I must like essentially this will be rice cooked in cooker. So starch is okay for children, right?
Completely okay.
Okay.
Start. You are losing on a lot of nutrients if you are removing the water
The water,
from the
yeah,
rice, right? I prefer pressure cooked rice.
perfect. Um, Now when we come to food being cooked, I was just figuring out, in the beginning we don't put any salt and definitely no sugar.
Correct.
So when do we start introducing masalas slowly into their food? I mean, I'm talking, obviously we are crossing the infant stage and we're
Yes.
past 7 or 8 months
Yes.
of, just plain food without any salt. And
Correct.
then slowly, I guess, as they grow older,
Yeah, so salt is typically 1 year, not before that,
yeah,
right? Because their salt is basically NaCl, that's sodium and chloride. The kids' sodium requirements are not that high. They get whatever they need from the formula or the breast milk. Okay, so that requirements are not very high. So supplementing salt on top is not
not
adults.
required.
Also, there are organs, that's your kidneys and all, are not yet fully developed or matured enough to excrete the extra sodium. So salt is a complete no till 1 year. But yeah, like you said, masalas, spices. First 1 month when I'm introducing the solids, I'd keep it very, very plain. But post 7 months, what I recommend is to move to home flavors. Basically, flavors that you use in cooking at home. So if you're a South Indian, flavors that you use in the house typically. Or if I'm
So that
cooking,
would be like lasun,
correct, yes,
adrak, things like
yes,
that.
but
Okay,
mild flavors. It will
got
not
it.
be like masaledar or
Got it.
spicy like we eat. But yes, all your flavors, mild flavors except sugar, salt, and green chili. All your flavors, I'm okay with your sambar masala, your little bit of garam masala, piece of cinnamon, piece of clove, little bit of garlic. Yes, give them, they will accept it more readily, but no salt.
Correct. No salt. Yes. Okay. And is there any specific spice that you're an absolute like, please do not introduce this?
So, like my red chili powder and black pepper powder, I would do just a pinch.
Okay.
Okay. So, but I'm okay introducing that as well. Green chili is a complete no. That is
Okay.
one thing that I would not introduce. I would introduce that post 1 year
Okay.
and introduce it in stages, like without the seeds, then with the seeds, then
Got it.
pieces. So take it very, very slow with green chilies because again, they are very, very
We're
hot
fine.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So acid
Okay.
reflux and stuff. So
And
that
when you say chili powder, you mean Kashmiri or you mean the spicy bhedgi?
what you are using at home.
Home. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be
So
aware of
I'm
the weather also. So suppose it's summers and it's very, very hot right now,
yeah.
right? So you don't want to do that chili or very spicy chili right now. So take it according to that.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I also personally believe that um, the kid eventually has to join the family pot,
Correct, correct.
and you're building their taste buds to kind of taste like yours.
Yes.
While we may not follow exactly the same route our parents took, I mean, we have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yes. So you don't get into that hassle of special cooking. I've seen
Cooking, yeah,
kids for whom food is cooked specially till they turn 5, 6. It's such a task for the mother also to sit and decide the menu separate for the child, separate for the family. Uh, as soon as possible, that is 10, 11 months, is when we want to move to a full family diet. That's the reason why we start these flavors also, which are similar to what is used at home. So they get used to that taste.
that's perfect. It's so insightful. Sometimes you feel like, you speak to other moms and everyone's doing the same thing, but it's not essentially maybe the right thing to do,
Right.
which is why I always recommend that you seek professional help, you get professional guidance. it may you like that there will be no problem.
Yeah,
And
we try
why
to
would you
copy
want
the
to have
West
yeah,
many a times,
yeah,
which is not always correct.
correct. And when you type baby-led weaning in 2024 on Google in India, you're only getting apples and carrots. And how do we have this at night?
Correct.
Like, I can't give my child a watermelon
Yes.
slice, which is what maybe the European baby-led weaning,
Yes.
meal
Yes.
plan
So
follows, which I can't do. So I was like, trying to figure out how to do this. And I always like try and ask other moms, how are you managing to feed rice? And most people are feeding them parathas and rotis, which is easy for them to
yeah,
tangibly
sure.
hold and, eat. But so I like, I think it's very recent that we started the rice tikis. And I
Ah,
think we're making slow progress, but I mean, it's happening.
yeah. It will happen.
Yeah,
Yes. They will learn. Eventually, they have to eat food, right? So
yeah,
they will learn.
that's true. I would also want to figure out what is your take on dahi versus yogurt versus milky food, because usually it's part of our Indian diet to have a side of dahi.
Dahi.
Uh, my research says that milky fir is far more superior than dahi and Greek yogurt, and it tastes just the same, if
Correct.
not yummier.
Yeah.
90% of the people can't even tell the difference. What is your take on this?
So I'm again of the school of thought wherein I prefer to do more traditional meals. So if you're in India, you're eating something that's more Indian, something that we make at home. Okay. So if you can make milk kefir at home, uh, it is not traditionally Indian, but
Yeah,
yes, it has more benefits than curd for sure. It's more probiotically rich as well as compared to curd. It's more, say, if the child is lactose intolerant, yeah, it's more easily digestible for them as well, milk kefir. Um, but I'd still prefer something that you can make at home. That's curd, which we
correct,
make it in every Indian household. It's more controlled. We know what's going in. Yeah. And yeah, it's more easily digestible. If you're not lactose intolerant, then go ahead with once in a while. If you're having a milk kefir is fine. But on a regular basis, I would still stick to my curd.
curd. Okay,
It's homemade. And yeah, yogurt also. But again, yogurt uh, is comes somewhere in between both of them.
correct. Yeah,
Curd and milk kefir.
milk of kefir. Yeah,
It's
bacteria wise, you're talking about,
correct,
right?
correct.
Yeah,
The probiotic load wise, so that comes somewhere in between, but something that you can make at home originally,
correct.
not the store-bought ones.
Correct.
Prefer.
So coming back to my question, when I mentioned bacteria, I meant good bacteria in curd, yogurt, and milk kefir. So I have been making milk kefir at home. I You can buy grains on Amazon, dehydrated grains, and then hydrate them at home. And I feel like if you live in a joint family setup, there's usually someone in the senior citizens category who needs good probiotics. And I feel like the kids also sometimes they end up eating, like, in the snack time or whatever. They eat so much garbage. I feel like this milk kefir is just like a royal flush for everyone. Like, it just helps maintain the family bowel system.
Yes, but again, it's not only probiotics. You need to give the
Yeah.
prebiotics as well.
Okay. And what is
Yeah.
that?
So prebiotics are so basically probiotics are your bacteria, gut-friendly
Correct.
bacteria, and prebiotics are the food for that gut bacteria.
Okay.
That's your fiber, fruits,
Fruits.
vegetables.
Yes.
So
Got it.
it works both ways. So if you're
Correct.
eating probiotics, make sure prebiotics and
Prebiotics are,
make at home. So what you're doing,
yes,
making at home
home.
is the way to go.
Perfect. Are there any foods that you would like recommend parents not try with children in terms of vegetables or fruits? Like you mentioned citrus fruits, so you can talk about vegetables in this question.
Vegetables, what I try to avoid is the ones that cause colic. So the cruciferous ones, basically broccoli, still children take too well, but not many children take well to cabbage, cauliflower. That I'd recommend once they have a little movement, so 10 months plus, when they start moving around,
Walking.
crawling around, walking. So it's more easily digestible. So cabbage, cauliflower, radish again. It is again too gassy. Uh,
Okay.
Once they start chewing well, then probably you can introduce a ladyfinger and corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are some of the vegetables. And if there is reflux, then you avoid your tomatoes, the sour ones. So
Got it.
that is the cap on vegetables. Otherwise, I'm okay with all
All
vegetables that you can
vegetables.
introduce. Yeah, yeah. We are blessed with so many
So
vegetables
many.
that keep it seasonal and introduce all of them.
Do you recommend mothers buying organic vegetables for their kids, or it is all a sham according to you? Because I feel like we spend so much money on vegetables, and I honestly can't tell the difference between
So
vegetables that come on Zomato versus
we
vegetables that I
have
buy
a
from the family
vegetable
farm.
garden, and if you are going to grow your vegetables, please go ahead. If you
I
don't
love this
know the
answer.
source, if you don't know the source, you don't know, India, anything is possible. So to get my organic label, I don't have to do much. I mean, you don't know what is organic, you don't know how organic it is. So if you know
That's
a
true.
trusted source, like if you have some relatives growing veggies and yes, this is organic, go ahead with it. But otherwise, I'm not keep it what the family is eating. So organic grains, organic vegetables, organic fruits. Yes, if you know the source, you should know the source from where
Got
you
it.
then go ahead.
Yeah. But I also feel like we're anyway cooking it eventually. I mean,
Yeah,
if there are germs, they are going to die.
worms are as it is only
I think sometimes we are
cooking, it's
killing
good.
nutrients also while we are eating them because I
That's
mean
the
our
reason
Indian
we
style
have a
cooking.
combination. Like we want to eat our salads as well,
Correct.
fibers, and some vegetables like your tomatoes and carrots are best eaten cooked. That's when the
Okay.
nutrients are more available.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought they were better eaten raw. Yummy.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is a myth busted. Also, do you recommend when you say like when we are giving them mashed food, we give them little sticks. Do we give them cooked sticks or do we give them raw sticks? Like for example, if I'm giving a carrot puree, can I give them like kacha carrot to
Yeah, it
like
has to be
chew, touch?
parboiled,
Parboiled. Okay, got it.
not very, very soft, so they hold it and it mashes, and not
Correct.
very hard as well. It has to be half boiled kinds. So
Got
it's
it.
even if they bite into it, it's easy because they don't have teeth yet. So it's and then they will roll it and they will gulp it. They manage
Okay, awesome.
even without teeth. Yeah.
Okay, and my next question is primarily natural remedies for immunity boosters, like kids who start school.
Hmm.
What a mess it is for the moms.
Yeah. It's
Everyone's
like
falling
passing
sick.
the parcel.
Yeah, it's like a germ fest.
Correct, correct,
So I just wonder, whether I don't remember falling sick so often as a child myself. But again, I don't think everyone has too much memory of what their life was when they were 2 and 3. But I feel like our kids nowadays are falling sick very often,
correct.
whether it's school, whether it's a play date, or you go to these play areas. They come back and bam, next day someone's nose is leaking, or there's like some rash somewhere. So I don't know. Are we our kids? They have diminished immunity, or are we just like raising sissies?
It's
Sometimes I feel like too
the
protective.
environment as well. So the amount of pollution that is has increased a lot as compared to what uh, we were as kids. That is number one. That pollution also has an impact on your immunity, even if you are giving the best of food to your child. You know, uh, it is going to impact his or her immunity.
Immunity.
Okay, so the environment that you're living in is going to have an impact on the child's immunity. Food for sure. So lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, your berries, your nuts, your seeds, protein in the meals is very, very important. Indians lack protein in their diets. So proteins is very, very essential. But what we miss on is the other three things, that is adequate sleep, okay, water intake, stress, physical activity. Are we taking our kids outdoors? Okay, playing in the mud, playing in the dirt, which many parents nowadays don't allow. They want to keep their child to too much of sanitation, basically.
Yeah,
That has lead to diminished immunity.
immunity.
What I have this one question always when I do a consult with a parent who is for a 6-month old. What utensils to use, how to clean my utensils. Okay. Yeah, that's one very common question. And what they want me to say is sterilize it, use this, use that. Complete no, just go in for the regular washing that you're doing for your utensils at home. No need to sterilize your spoons and your vessels and all of that. It's
Thank you, Vidhi. I felt like one of those really like a Looney Tune mom because I was looking at my children licking the floor, eating like, I don't know, Amazon boxes. Chappal is their favorite. I'm like, what am I doing sterilizing and why am I wasting my time?
it's
I feel like we are just like setting them up for failure. And my mother-in-law, all of us, they just keep laughing at me, say, you guys are like
yes. So
superb.
that
It's
that
they
is
think it's
where
a
it has a
joke.
hit on the immunity, no?
Yeah,
Take them to the beaches,
correct.
take them to the gardens, let them get dirty. Don't keep them too protected. Get your vaccinations on time.
Time.
Yes, so
Yeah.
all of that will help to boost the immunity.
Immunity. Okay. And now, just coming to a few basic food preferences that you would recommend in terms of like breakfast. So, like meals like lunch and dinner, I think most moms have covered because I mean, eventually you're eating what you're offering to your kids a version of what you eat. But what do you do for breakfast? Like, I feel like as South Indians, for me,
Hmm.
ragi is very important.
Correct.
Introducing nachni to our children because I feel like it was something that we ate, and my parents, in fact, even my mother-in-law told me about my husband.
Mm-hmm.
We were offered nachni till we were two almost every day as the basic thing. Over and above, you'll get some fruits and whatever on the side, but like your main breakfast is nachni and wheat porridge, and it
Correct.
was just like
Correct.
the job was done.
Yes.
So I wonder if, sometimes a little bit of this and a little bit of that works in today's day and age because then otherwise I feel like, oh, but other parents are talking about pancakes and waffles and where am I in this, rut?
Make your
So
pancakes and waffles with nachni atta.
naturally, that's what I do.
So that's one thing that we do. But yes, nachni is one of the first foods that we do introduce. Uh, Initially as porridges, but as we move ahead, nachni added to roti because kids get bored of porridges then. And
Correct,
max they would eat is till 2 years, not beyond.
correct.
Add it to your rotis. Okay.
Okay.
Add it. Make your dosas out of nachni. Nachni ka dosa, nachni ka chilla. Okay, nachni added to pancakes is also a good idea. If your child wants to eat pancakes, yes, you can go ahead with that. It is very versatile. I mean, you can add
Yeah,
it
it's
to a
it's
lot of.
flour and you just add it to like any
Yes,
basic
yes,
recipe and
yes.
supplement
Especially in
your refined
summers,
flour.
nachni laddus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is nachni like cooling for the stomach?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So recommended jawar and nachni are recommended more during summers. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Good. And
Yes.
finger millet, like nachni is called finger millet in English. So is that also high protein?
Not really, not very, very high protein. So I'm not considering it as a protein source. Yes, it has
Okay,
good vitamins, minerals. My
got
millets
it.
are also a source of carb. Okay, good source of vitamins, minerals. And protein is present in my cereals as well, in my dals as well, and in my millets as well, but not like a high protein meal I would count nachni as. It's more of carb.
Okay. And do you recommend giving savory breakfast or do you recommend giving sweeter breakfast? Like
Okay.
when I say sweet, I mean uh,
It would
like
be
as
a
a
combination.
combination with honey, like something dipped in honey or maple syrup, or something made with jaggery, a porridge made with jaggery. Obviously, I'm on the same bandwagon of no sugar, no salt until at least age one, and definitely no sugar till at least till how much ever
However, we
long you can
can.
try.
Correct, correct, correct.
Eventually, the
Very
kids are
much.
going to like nick some
Eat.
cake somewhere
Yes,
and eat it.
yes.
Then, when they ask, they will get what they
Correct.
want to.
No, so
Yeah.
when we start off, like I had said, 6 months, we keep it plain. So no salt, no sugar, no jaggery, no date, no fruit, nothing. Okay, it has to be plain porridge. So nachni is plain nachni,
Correct.
nothing else added to it. But once I move a step forward, coming to 7.5 months, 8 months, that is where I start adding, say, both. So today I did a porridge which has a fruit, it's sweet. Next day, I do something like an upma, which is more savory. I don't want to stick to one flavor.
Flavor.
India has a wide variety of breakfast options, right? From
Got
your
it.
upma, chilla, idli, dosa. I will want to introduce all of that. Your porridges, you get sweet porridges, savory porridges made out of jawar, made out of dalia. Go
Correct.
ahead with all of that. Don't stick to only sweet or only savory.
Got it. And fruits, would you recommend only for breakfast and like say evening snack? Or can like is it okay to give fruits post sunset?
It
It's
is
a very
completely
Indian
okay.
thing to not eat fruits after sunset, right? No?
No. I mean, unless and until you're an adult on some diet or something where
Okay.
we would recommend not to eat fruits post a certain period of time because it would cause a sugar spike or something. For
Okay.
kids, I'm completely okay. I have not seen any disturbances with the children. If the kid is very, very hungry at night, say probably after dinner is over and at night he is now very hungry and wants to eat something, instead of giving, say, any savory snack, a wafer or a snack or a biscuit, I'd prefer giving a banana and putting him to sleep.
To sleep. Got it.
Yeah, so there's no restriction on when to give a fruit. Make sure at least 2 fruits a day they are eating,
Okay.
and that's more than enough.
Got it. And what about milk? Like in general, like a lot of parents breastfeed their children nowadays until 2, which is amazing. But what about those moms who can't manage that?
Hmm.
So, like, what is your take on breast milk versus formula versus cow milk? At
Okay,
what stage is it okay to like cut down on formula and introduce cow's milk in to integrate it into their diet?
right. Yes, number one, breast milk is the best milk that you can give your child. Yes, as far as 2 years, yes, you can breastfeed your child. But yes, post 1 year, the amount of solids that you would give to a child would be more, and breast milk would be lesser because, again, chances of the breast milk has less amount of iron basically. So the chances of the child getting anemic if he's only on breast milk is higher. So
Okay.
the solids have to be there. In case the mothers are not able to breastfeed, then yes, formulas, you get excellent formulas nowadays, which are well balanced. Certain disadvantages are there, like the emotional bonds, the kind of properties that are there in breast milk, like your immune boosters, your hormones, your stuff like that, the child may not get. So I would still rank breast milk as number one. If you can breastfeed your child, please go ahead with that as number one. Formula, yes, you can do that as well. Cow milk would be post 1 year, not before that. Uh, just yesterday, it has been passed by the WHO that you can introduce cow milk earlier than 1 year.
Oh,
But again, it is not a well-researched thing. Okay. Uh, Probably you can use the cow milk in your porridges where it is cooked,
cooked.
but plain cow milk, I would still say a no, and I would still wait for further research till I introduce cow milk before a year. So the kind of protein that is found in cow milk, it comes close to breast milk, right? But it's still not well digested by the child. So post 1 year is when slowly we introduce cow milk, not before that. Cow milk products like your curd and paneer is still okay because the chemistry changes there and it's easily digestible. But
Got
cow
it.
milk, 1 year.
And now we'll come to another question. This is my second last question, and then my favorite question is I'm saving it for the last. But what is your take on juice versus fruit? It's a big debate, and a lot of parents, are open to their kids having juice. I come from the school of thought that if it's not natural in its natural form, it's pointless.
Correct.
So, what is your take on it as a nutritionist? Do we lose everything when we like juice the fruit down?
If you juice the fruit, you're losing on the fiber for sure. Okay. So first I'd prefer is always a whole fruit. Okay. Juice is always secondary. So seasonal, probably when your oranges and mosambi are in season, right? And you want to give it maybe say 2 or 3 times a week.
Got it.
Max. That you can do during seasonal. Otherwise, no juicing of fruits, not needed at all. Um, Especially infants and toddlers, the more fruits you give them, the more fiber is going in, right? That's what is required. Juicing, especially if you're getting ready juices, a complete no. But at home also, make sure you're not giving more liquid calories. Again, I'm not too much for liquid calories. So your smoothies, your milkshakes, your
Yeah, it's just sugar water.
fruits. Yeah, avoid all of that. Stick to more solid food.
Got it. And coming to my favorite topic, the traditional feeding versus baby-led weaning.
Okay.
How do you see it benefiting a child, or do you think someone who's traditionally fed
Hmm.
is at a back foot? Like, for example, like now when we go to school,
Hmm.
when I say we, I mean my kids.
Correct.
Um, when they go to school, they are exploring dabba. So we have a community tiffin situation where every day one parent makes a snack and sends it to school, and the kids are all picking and eating out of that casserole. I feel it's kind of like instilling them to be a little more independent, explore a texture. I feel it also improves their coordination. And while I feel the traditional method of spoon feeding your child makes them very dependent on an adult to feed them. So if that adult is not there, the child would probably eventually be hungry or
Hungry.
not explore the food in school. So what is your take on this? And do you, and not all schools do this. This is mostly the Montessori way of
Correct.
education. There are schools that do this, and in these schools, they kind of like give you feedback that your child needs to be, pushed to consume something by themselves. But I've also noticed in baby-led weaning kids also, some kids maybe it is an appetite situation where
Hmm.
the child may not be hungry so at that different time, which
Hmm.
is why they don't care to eat, or just generally like they eat only their 3-4 meals which are served at home and they're like, bus ho gaya, I don't want to eat any more. So I don't know what it is. Like I sometimes feel like we're running a race with no exact knowledge as to what, okay, if I do baby led weaning, how is it going to benefit my child? And if I don't do it,
Hmm.
how badly back am I going to be with my child? Like what is the setback?
Okay. Um, see, like we discussed earlier as well, I would do a combination when I'm starting at 6 months, like a traditional with a baby-led weaning. Okay. That's what I'm going to start with. But as I move forward, if you remember, I told you one meal at a time, I would want the child to eat independently. Now it's upon the mother, upon the help at home, how you say how
Dedicated you are to this
yeah,
baby led weaning
dedicated you
process.
are to give that time and not be impatient for the child to finish the meal or to finish everything on the plate.
Plate.
Okay, so you need at post 1 year, 1.5 year max, I would want the child to eat meals on his own.
Got it.
Okay, all meals. I encourage post 10 months family meals. So as far as possible, the three main meals like the breakfast, lunch, dinner, if not possible lunch, then breakfast and dinner, the baby is eating with y'all on the table.
On the table. Yes.
So the baby seeing what y'all are eating, asking for that food, you're putting that food on his plate, his or her plate. Give that little variety to the child. Don't stick to one kind of khichadis. So every day I'm doing khichadis. Don't do
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
Mix
even we
all.
won't eat food like that. So,
Correct. So it's like that satisfaction. Khichdi diya to uska pet bhar gaya.
हाँ,
He will eat that whole one bowl and I am satisfied. I can sleep peacefully. The child will also sleep peacefully. Right? But it is a slow process. You need to have that patience. And baby-led weaning, step by step, is what we are looking at. So that makes the child more independent, more confident. You need to give that freedom to the child when the child is doing baby-led weaning. You don't
now
have
when
to
you say
interfere them.
freedom, how much freedom is too much freedom?
Yeah, the child is going to throw the food around. It is going to be a mess. You do educate. I mean, at 7 months and 8 months, you can't shout at the child or tell the child that what is to be done because the child is going to explore. But as and when the child grows, you have to have that communication with the child and Don't keep giving too many options. He's not eating this, then I get this. He's not eating this, then I get this. That should not be there. But yes, independent in food is what we are looking at. So when you're saying preschools and all, yes, baby-led weaning helps there. But as at 5 months or 6 months, I'm not looking starting with that. I will
That's
start with a combination.
got it. And another question with baby-led weaning and traditional weaning is, how much time should a meal time be? Like, or how much time is exceeding your absolute patience threshold? Like,
So in the start, probably 30 minutes.
okay.
Yeah, 30 minutes. But once the child is used to it, it's been a good period of time, say at 10 months, 12 months, then it would be 20 minutes. 20 minutes max is when you're giving the food to your child, not beyond that.
So this works with children who can't speak. Like at 10 months, that child is eating whatever you give him. But the like absolute test of your true patience and as a parent and your grit and patience, everything is the truly the toddler era. I feel like, oh my God, these toddlers, I tell you. So
Yes,
in general, like I feel like kids are very good eaters until they turn one, and then suddenly there's this
available
switch in them.
tools.
There's like, no, 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 and like they've learned to purse their lips, and it's like you don't even know where to
Have to
start.
keep your
So
times of meals, fixed timings of meals, no snacks available. So if you're living in a joint family, make sure the snacks don't reach the children. Okay, because if they know where the snacks are, they will easily fill their stomach with that. So you need to have fixed meal times. Fixed food is what they are going to get. Okay, so not keeping on giving options. If he's not had that meal, you will not get anything. You will directly get your next meal. You
next
have
meal.
to be firm there. Okay, get them involved. So when you're planning a meal, planning a menu, so say post 2 years, once they start understanding, ask them what would they like to eat. Get them involved in activities such as going to the market, buying fruits and vegetables, showing them fruits and vegetables, take them to the supermarket. What would they like to pick up? Get them exposed to these, get them involved in simple cutting, peeling of potatoes, so that they get involved in stuff like that, making like a little suka bale or a sandwich, and growing few plants at home. So something that is something like palak, which is easy to grow, tomatoes, which are easy to grow. So once they see all that, once they get involved in the process, then it's not a task.
Got it. And again, with toddlers, what did you say is your like a meal time shouldn't exceed 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
20, max 30, not beyond that.
Oh.
And no screen.
So yeah, oh, yeah, that is a whole different podcast.
Correct.
Screen moms versus no screen moms. But yeah, so I mean, to each their own. I understand everyone has their own threshold and their own, patience level with their children. Sometimes you need to get the meal done faster. Some kids are very, very, very picky eaters. So there are different problems on different dining tables.
Correct.
And I feel like to each their own. But in general, like when you say no screens, do you think distraction method is okay? Like read a book while eating? Or when you're eating, it is just food and you finish eating and then you leave.
Correct. It's no distraction feeding, no music, no books, no toys, no dancing, no screen. It
Got
has
it.
to be fully involved. That's the reason why I say family meals.
Correct.
There's a conversation happening. You're talking to your child. So then you don't need the screen. If the child is eating alone in his room, he's going to get
Yeah, that's
it.
true.
Yeah. So that's the reason we encourage family meals, right? And no screen, what happens is there's certain signals in your brain that happens when you're eating food. When to stop eating is what the signal is coming from the brain. There are certain hormones that work that ways. When you are in front of a screen, maybe not at 2 years, but that becomes a habit over a period of time. That is a recipe for obesity. You don't understand the signals that your body is giving you when to stop eating. You keep eating, you are involved in that screen. Okay, you don't understand whether you are full, not full. So always distractions are a big no to understand how your body is taking your food. I mean, when you're full, when you need to stop, all these signals you will miss otherwise. And you need to learn it from a young age.
Wow, that I think was the most impactful ending to our food conversation. I never knew that. I knew the screen was bad, but I didn't know it was so bad.
Yeah,
And sometimes, when you go to a restaurant and you feel like the child is going to throw food around,
correct.
that's when that mobile comes out quickly. Isko de do.
Don't do that.
And Miss Rachel, I sometimes feel is co-parenting with us. It's something that my kids watch on YouTube. But in general, I think this has been like so informative would be an understatement. I think as a parent, it has just streamlined a lot of things in my head, and I hope this helps other moms who are hearing, watching, and listening to us. Um, I would like to thank you, Vidhi, for really supporting us. We're brand new,
Sure.
and it's been a pleasure talking to you. Is there anything else you would like to ask us or tell moms or
So one trend that of late, again, with the amount of travel that has increased, post COVID especially, I get a lot of mothers asking for travel friendly foods,
Hmm.
and whether to go for the ready to eat food that are
Oh
available
yes.
markets. So that is a big no-no again for me. Okay. Uh, Again, you must be aware of the controversy that's recently happened with the baby food and sugar present in it. So
Correct.
we have been always telling not to give those kind of foods, because learn to read labels again. So there are very clean brands that are still available in the market. Opt for those, and we do give recommendations for what kind of foods, travel friendly foods you should be giving to your children when you are traveling, and what can
Amazing.
you carry. But don't go in for those, especially those squeezies of fruits and veggies, and
Yeah.
it's terrible, especially fruits, so you get fresh anywhere, so you don't need.
Yeah.
It's again a very Western concept, uh, not to do with India at all.
And anything that can stay alive for more than 3 days in a
Yes,
tube surely has tons of preservatives.
preservatives, yes. So read labels. So learn how to read labels, teach it to your children how to read labels. So I do a lot of these talks for schools and preschools, especially school children, where we teach them how to read nutrition labels and educate mothers how to read nutrition labels.
So these talks are for kids of what age?
So, see, I go to preschools for the younger kids, wherein it's a
Okay.
very playful method where we do like a food rainbow, and like I said, those different activities, take them to the supermarket, do a fireless cooking, grow some food at home in the school. So with the teachers, we do all of that. And for older kids, so that will be fifth standard plus fourth, fifth, sixth, wherein they get into the culture of eating fast food, is when we do the reading nutrition.
Reading labels. That's it's very nice. I mean, if your child knows what they're eating and if they
Correct.
read the
They
garbage that's
need
in
to
the
be there, aware.
yeah. I mean,
Over a
I'm sure
period
they
of
would
time,
not
they
want,
will
yeah.
learn.
It would also very conveniently dissuade your child from eating it. At least the
Yes.
mom doesn't have to say no.
Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, that is one more thing.
Amazing. So, Vidhi, how does a parent contact you if they want a consultation with you and to like go across this meal plan? And when is the right time to reach out to you? Is it like a few months before they start
So yeah,
the
ideally
solid?
looking at 5 to 5.5 months. So at 5.5 months, if we can get over a call, then I can take you through the whole process and whatever preparation you would like to do. You can start food at 6 months. So I'm available online all over the globe. I take consultations. So I don't operate from a clinic, especially post-COVID. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So in case anybody wants to meet me offline, they are welcome home. But otherwise, it's all online consults all over the globe.
Okay, so we are going to add your contact details at
Sure.
the bottom so that any parent who has been, has a mindset change after hearing us can please reach out to Vidhi. She has been in the business for a very long time, and this entire conversation has been so insightful. There's so many like things we take for granted, or we just don't realize that they're not good for us, or they may not be the best, but we just do them anyway because we've been doing it for years,
Mhm.
and that does not mean we need to carry on. We need to break the cycle somewhere. Like we said, screens are a latest addition to all parents' dining tables, and clearly, it is doing us way more damage than we think. It is helping our children consume their food and nutrition.
Mhm.
But yeah, thanks, Vidhi. Thanks for coming online,
Thank
and
you
thank you
so
for
much,
supporting
Priyanka, for
us.
having me.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Same here, same here.
See you.
See you. Yes.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.